with the Summerland Kids. This is episode 94, and it's August 15th, 2024. And the weather in Summerland today is currently 61 with a high of 79. I'm guessing mostly sunny again in Summerland.
Sunny in Summerland. Who would have
Sunny.
guessed?
I know, right? I tried to connect when I was in Santa Barbara, and it was actually their daughter, and she was born in Summerland, and I remember the night. Her name was Summerland Jade, and which is pretty cool.
Yeah,
and,
that's cool.
It is super cool. Like 24 years old, and my friend and his girlfriend slash, they had their kid at home, like a home birth in Summerland. And I just remember, as a guy, I just remember being like kind of scared. I'm not a doc. I was in my room going like, oh my God, this is amazing, So, and birth story.
Yeah, that's wild.
So
did she have one of those a
yeah,
doula or whatever
I think so.
there?
Probably a doula. And then what else? The kid grew up great. Everything was fine. It's supposed to be a good kid, and she's now possibly, I think she might be married and living in France full time. So yeah. And then people where I feel like Summerland has some weird vortex slash that whole thing. The Summerland, how it just feels very like creatively. I feel blessed to be, I was born in Goleta Valley Community Hospital. We're living in Summerland, and then brought me back to Summerland as soon as I was born. Actually born in Summerland. Freaking awesome, man.
That's it takes a little bit of intention, I guess. I mean, the doctors want you in the hospital and everything, but I guess women have been birthing children since the beginning of humanity. I mean, the animals do it,
right?
Every animal does it.
That I just I don't have a major on the umbilical cord, and then somehow like just I look at those little baby deers, mom do it. They obviously just, I guess it's just an instinctual thing. Like all right, disconnect the cord. It's like unplug the socket. Okay, now you're gonna clean you up a little bit and start walking. Right?
Yeah, it's some animals come out right out and they're ready to go, ready to walk, or they have to. I guess humans, they cut the umbilical cord or they tie it off. But I've seen some births where they'll like put the placenta or the afterbirth like in a bowl, a cup, or a clay pot or something, so that the rest of the nutrients, because there's nutrients in there, will get into the baby.
Okay. Wow. Yeah, that's incredible stuff, man. I mean, like you said, the beginning of time, outside of it all, that we came from the other side slash flowers, going, okay, these flowers are going to drop some seeds off, and those seeds have to fall into the right crack or blow themselves into the dirt, essentially reborn next season, as a offshoot of that exact same mother.
Yeah, some of the pumpkins that we got not pumpkins yet, but the pumpkin plants. We had a pumpkin last year, and we just kind of said, "Oh, let's just mulch it into the ground because it's natural. It'll mulch in." And so, we were getting some of the garnet plot ready, so we hadn't even planted any seeds intentionally. We just kind of raked it smooth, mixed in some of the amendments, and put some wood chip down so it would hold the moisture, and then started watering a bit so that all the nutrients and all the water could get softened up, getting ready to plant. And before you knew it, we had a pumpkin patch growing on its own,
Oh,
volunteer
nice.
pumpkin patch.
That's awesome. That's cool. I was been in communication with a friend of mine about the art scene, and this thought come to mind as far as like, you can go about things Erewhon and buy a smoothie for $25, or because I've heard comical, or you can go to the roadside farmer directly, buy the fruit from the farmer. So it's like as the farm as possible is ideal. That way there's not hands in the pie, so to speak, as far as getting your produce is ideal. I mean, if you're in the city, I know it's challenging, and that's a thing to get produce. But there is farmers markets in Los Angeles. You just got to find them. So yeah.
Yeah.
So that's a challenge.
I know one thing that we used to do in Atascadero, they had a you pick berry farm, you pick cherries and berries.
Amazing.
And so cherries can be kind of expensive, but when you go out down and you pick them yourself, they seem to be a lot better price. I always had trouble though, because I'd go pay for the bucket of cherries, spend, however many hours picking cherries, and end up with no cherries in my bucket. I guess I snacked on them the whole time I was picking them.
That's cool. Yeah. So I was kind of like, drawing a comparison between that and they have to find space for themselves. So a handful of times I got space for I would go to a piece of a property and be like, is the owner here? And they'd be like, live somewhere else, but here's his phone number. So I call that owner, and then that owner would send me a location, or they say the owner's not here, but I know the owner, and then I get the owner's phone number. So that's like kind of like going after the farmer. And then once I get the owner, then I'm making a deal on renting a space directly from the owner. So, an artist's perspective, to get as close to the ownership as possible, spaces get like brokered out where the owner rents to, like, let's say, be as almost like an agent / space representative, and then that space rep the space and then rents out to other people. So he's making a cut, type of thing. And then sometimes people even make a cut on that person's cut. If you're like fifth person in the line, and those other 5 people before you are all making off of you're the one paying for the space. So it's like, oh man, wild.
Well, I mean, some things just kind of make sense. I mean, okay, the farmer could sell direct to you, maybe rice grain, right? But then the farmer could also sell those rice grains to the rice cake manufacturing plant. And so then the manufacturing plant has to manufacture all the rice cakes, because we know how much those rice cakes are so yummy. Everybody wants one. And then the distributors got to distribute them. And then the stores got to have the employees and everything in the storefront. So yeah, you can either get the rice direct from the guy and make your own rice cakes, or you go to the grocery store and it does go through a few people's hands, which, I guess it makes it easier. I don't know how to make those rice cakes, but I do enjoy them from time to time.
Yeah, exactly. I know there's so many things that are like that, which is wild in today's society. Like one initial purchase. It's funny, like maybe relating it to the guys that were going to Mexico and getting weed in Mexico, of course, selling it. So I guess it's the same thing as going, back to Nebraska and getting bringing it to the place that processes the corn, and then, like you said, with the manufacturer of how do you make breakfast cereal? You broker you got to get.
Yeah, a
Yeah,
specialty labor. I mean, even bread, okay, you got the farmer that gets the grain, and you can go through the trouble of grinding your flour and baking your
yeah,
bread, or you can go down to the bakery and pay a bit more, but now you don't have to be a miller, you don't have to have a millstone, you don't have to grind the wheat and the
right,
flour, and you don't have to have a big oven, you don't have to be a baker and have all the best recipes. You can just go get the
right,
bread from the baker.
right.
um, that reminds me of the story, The Little Red Hen. I don't know if you've heard that
Can't
story.
remember.
It's kind of a it's kind of a fable, so it's got a moral of the story. So the little red hen is farming, and everybody crosses on their way into town by her farm. So she asks the lawyer, the doctor, all these different people, "Oh, will you help me weed and till my field?" Nobody helps except the little boy. The little boy stops, "Sir, I'll help." Little red hen and helps her. And so time goes on. It's time to harvest. It's time to mill, and the same thing happens. "Oh, will you help?" The lawyer, "No, I'm too busy." The shopkeeper, "No, I'm too busy." The doctor, "No, I'm too busy." The little boy, "Sure, I'll help." Well, finally comes the day she's cooking the bread, and everyone stops by Little Red Hen's place. "Oh, can I get a bread? Oh, it smells so good." And she's like, "No, no, no." Finally, the little boy's cruising by. She goes, "Oh, come here, little boy. Here's some bread for
Yeah,
you," because he stopped and
exactly.
helped. Uh,
That's what's up, man. Yeah,
I guess modern society is a little bit different. I mean, people make money. So, say I'm over here working on a car, and someone buys the car. So someone else totally outside of the farm loop, and then I could take that money from the car that I built and go buy the bread. And so I guess I was enjoying a piece of chocolate yesterday and thinking, I'm like, wow, it's just so cool that I don't have to have this special chocolate technique. I don't have to have all the facilities. I don't even know how they grow the cocoa beans or where they grow the cocoa beans, but I'm able to enjoy chocolate because of how the free trade works. So I was just kind of thinking about that actually last night, enjoying a night like coffee,
yeah,
enjoying my nice
exactly.
coffee.
I like how the Native Americans did before they got when they were in like a totally sustainable loop where they were just like mashing the corn, feeding their family with the corn, probably giving them and they had a few livestock. They would trade the livestock for blankets or so it wasn't hurting anybody what they were doing. It was all and they actually didn't need to have anything at all. It was just like they were trading goods for other goods, and again, it wasn't hurting the environment, and everything was chill. And then they pushed away from that, and then put into the modern society where they had to buy the cheese, get money for electricity. It's got so much more complicated. They weren't used to that whole new way of doing things. Electricity, they didn't need electricity before. They were just like totally off the grid and living in their little cool, homes that they built with the dirt, sustain themselves through different types of climates. So, maybe I know, in modern society does figure out ways to sort of operate more sustainable and operate cleaner, but it is challenging to pull that off. When sometimes like um, gets involved and then makes it more difficult to pull off because ultimately to be paying into the system or something. So
Yeah, I mean
anyways,
it blows my mind because everyone's talking about, oh, green energy, carbon free cars or whatever. But okay, so the car that you have, maybe it doesn't produce carbon because it uses a battery, but the power plant, if you're burning coal to charge your electric car,
yeah,
there's a solution there. Or even mining the natural resources, the rare earth elements and everything, that has an effect on the environment. So hopefully, as society and the world progresses and we study and understand these things a little bit more, we'll be able to make some things. I always think about how hemp, like Henry Ford made a hemp car that was made out of hemp and ran off of hemp,
Amazing.
and you could take the
Wow.
natural oil from the seeds and whatnot, but and even the fiber for clothes and paper and whatnot. But I guess some of the people think that, oh, the oil industry or even the paper mill industry or the plastic industry had something more to do than just, okay, marijuana gets you high, let's make it illegal. Because I think there was a little bit more to it than that. Because, oh, if you're replacing plastic with hempcrete or paper or oil, then all these other industries might not be able to make so much money because there's an alternative. Hopefully eventually the world will figure out, better ways that are more sustainable,
Yeah.
or cleaner or less impactful. But I mean, you
Right.
think about it, America's just a couple hundred years old. The
Yeah.
Industrial Revolution wasn't too long ago, and there's a long time in the future if you consider forever, and there was a long time in the past. So we'll
Yeah.
make our mistakes, we'll learn from them, we'll stub our
Yeah.
toe on the
Exactly.
corner or whatever and be like, oh, that hurts, let's try something else.
Yeah. Be eventually in America digging into the landfills to try to find slash things to sell. Because there's so much waste. It's haven't figured out that I mean, of course, there is a cost in melting down, you know, repurposing steel, or a friend of mine is and somehow creating um, plastic, like, and then creating that, and then molding that recycled plastic into furniture, purposing reusing the waste, because in their environment, Indonesia, or it's a far off place, but they're much like God. They're in some cases drinking water out of plastic bottles, receiving packs of ships, container ships delivering the goods that people just in the modern world are so want their plastic sippy cup. I guess
Yeah, yeah,
rather than
the
using.
plastic sippy cup.
I
That's
know
a
you
good
gotta have it.
example. Everybody
Yeah,
needs their sippy cup.
but thankfully yours looks like it's ceramic, which I guess in theory could be to dirt, which is, to me, is ceramic and glass are a little bit to the environment than plastic. Um, but plastic, I guess, was a cheaper alternative. And then, of course, you can make all these amazing shapes, and everybody's like so if, with whatever shape they're giving you. To make a child happy cup is in shape of the Pink Panther or something, and to get that joy factor, the dopamine, endorphins, whatever it takes to get people, make them happy or something. Anyways, it's just kind of.
Yeah, that instant gratification of that sip of coffee on your lips the first thing in the morning. Ooh, there's something about it.
I know, and of course, some culture, some of them were in areas where they found that some plants had a uplifting when they were chewed on or made into some sort of then that took them, give them a feeling of or visions, or so that then there leads into the shaman were, I think, like in some cases, like leaders or visionaries to their tribe to imagine what's next, or what are we going to pull our culture into and build. Um, like in pyramids, there's pyramids all over. It's freaking amazing what these people did and how their cultures are recognized thousands of years later. Where I don't know how much thought in the future as far as what are we leaving behind thus far. unfortunately, in our
Yeah,
culture. So
it's it's hard to say. I know that where did these thoughts come from? Did they come from
I
eating
know.
some plant or burning some plant on the fire? But then, you look at things like frankincense, and there's actually some mild effects, just burning the frankincense incense. And then, of course, you get into like aromatherapy. Obviously, lavender has a calming effect, mint has a calming effect. If you eat spicy peppers, I hear that if you eat a spicy pepper, you get lots of
Wow.
energy. I don't know if that's just running around trying to cool your mouth down, but it also is like a vascular either dilator or constrictor. I think a dilator. So, hot peppers, capsaicin, makes your blood vessels open up. So you get more blood flow, you get more energy.
Right.
I guess it helps you healthy, ginger, garlic, you
Right.
know, um, things like that are supposedly healthy, ginger for your stomach, and different plants, camphophenique from the camphor tree
I remember that.
is just amazing. The natural remedies, even so much so
Yeah, and
that
that's where.
the scientists are looking through the Amazon rainforest, looking for different components that they could use for medical or, whatever situations. So that's
That's.
the Earth is an amazing place. That's given us so much abundance and coffee beans,
I know.
magic black beans.
I just wish we could figure out how to not burn it down. Amazon, like, I think it just goes after, like, okay, here's a guy with a tractor who knows he's going to get paid by taking out the trees, selling the trees. But unfortunately, the ecosystem and the like little biosphere just gets for a guy's paycheck, unfortunately. So it's kind of sad to see rainforests being burned and destroyed for so we can so that someone can get a paycheck. I did hear
Yeah,
some.
I think we're supposed to be
Yeah,
stewards of the land, stewards of the earth. I think that's really what we should be focused on. As far as like, okay, yeah, we have technology, we understand how to do this, but we should still take care because you look at, the inner cities like Los Angeles, all people piled on people and piled on people. But you get out into the country setting where you're at, and even if someone's
yeah,
quote unquote homeless, maybe they have a camp, off grid camp, so they're
yeah,
sustaining themselves the natural way or the
yeah,
organic way,
yeah, exactly.
anyway.
I know that's true. I just have like a harmful carbon footprint, if you will, than someone who's almost like by being like a free range person, um, environmental impact than someone who's um, you know modern society and buying and throwing away one trash can per week full. Uh, it's a challenge. I mean, you think that by now we'd have it really figured out. The fact that we're broken into what is it, 52 states, or the United States, and every state has their own a little different way of doing things, and not everybody's um, and um, and there's a far different lifestyle, many different lifestyles simultaneously. Um, and but overall, I think that once the plastic bottle leaves their house, um, I don't think they're really to it like we used to in the, I want to say, early '80s when we were growing up. We were there was an like take that Coke bottle and bring it back to the store to turn it back in because you got 5 cents. And I think those bottles back then probably went back to the manufacturer and got filled with more Coca-Cola. After, so that made more sense to me than a lot of the way. I did was a part of the Virgin Music Festival. Shout out to Richard Branking to do a music festival with a green, green consciousness. So corn based plastic cups and things that would break down in the land than not. So to have like a, you know, I think what it is he was putting out a thought in this big festival and having like Sting and the Beastie Boys and all these amazing performers. Winehouse was there. It was an incredible event, and I think at the end of the thing, probably compartmentalized and dealt with in a way that was for him like it was a statement. You can have a lot of money and do something a little more with a lot more thought. So that was cool.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's what you got to do. You got to make those conscious decisions to make change a few little things at a time, so that we can transition into a cleaner, brighter future. I know it's odd because us me being raised by a hippie mom, and you're exposed to
Yeah,
that hippie
yeah,
ideal
yeah,
that embrace the earth, we're all one family kind of thing, and it is a lot more important than people would give it credit for, because even little things like you start taking care of your neighborhood. Like my girlfriend goes on a little bike ride and she'll see some garbage around, so maybe she'll stop and pick up the garbage, and the neighbors see that, and then next thing you know, they're stopping to picking up the garbage, and it'll spread like wildfire. It's like a positive attitude. I don't know if you've ever gone to the
yeah,
grocery store, a little town like Pagosa Springs. You give
yeah,
someone a smile and you give them a good greeting, and next thing you know, everybody in town has been greeted in this positive way, and then the greetings start coming back to you like in tenfold and
yeah,
hundredfold. And it's really, even if you have a bad attitude and you're like, "Rrr," and you go out in the world and a couple people, you'll notice that starts spreading around, and you're getting that back. So you
right,
got to be careful what you what you're doing and everything.
right. Situation with those robot cars in San Francisco or something. They come back into designed program to come back to a certain place in town at nighttime or something. All coming back to the same place, and one car's honking in another car, and then it causes simultaneous honking at each other, but they're all robot cars. So one of the hell is going on here? The cars are honking at each other. What? He goes out there, and there's no one even in the car. Programmers are like, oh yeah, we're gonna have to work out that bug fix and have them go into quiet mode. So it's like I'm imagining they're gonna have to pay for a place park when they're not in service or something. So anyways, and shut off the horns because they're just laying into each other. So it almost be like a video game's fighting itself. You're like, hey, I'm here trying to play the game, and meanwhile trying to destroy. It's like almost like on some something like a live simulation. And so anyways, crazy stuff,
Yeah,
man.
so
The world's got
you're off to your new gig here in about a
yeah,
minute, huh?
new gig. I'm gonna help this lady today, a local antique shop where she's goes satellite to someone's home and then sale. So I'm gonna go to a residence and then help them antique lady to present the estate. It'll be like an antique sale / estate sale. So that's cool. I mean, company in the past and stuff, and just carrying. I always found myself sometimes. Jericho, you're good with fragile stuff. Go in the kitchen. So it'd be like putting the
Yeah, that
glasses and wrapping the
those
paper.
estate sales,
Yeah,
those are money savers. Anything you need household items or
yeah,
artwork or tools,
yeah.
you can get a great discount. And a lot of times you can get some of the um, older ones that are built a little bit better than the
Right.
newfangled stuff. But you could definitely, furnish your whole house
Oh,
and in a
definitely
couple of estate sales and save a ton of money.
sustainable. Like in terms of like buying something that's used and just as well. So it kind of keeps it in the system in a utilitarian way, a bit more environmentally conscious and saving and keeping, also too saving history which is great, and save it versus just, oh, let's just get rid of it. We don't want it anymore. Dump it, or something.
Yeah.
And what is it? One man's trash, another man's treasure. And sometimes those treasures are freaking amazing. So, man.
All right. Yeah. Well, enjoy your gig, buddy.
All right, man.
And we'll
Thank
see
you.
tomorrow.
Probably same time tomorrow. We'll see. Awesome.
All right.
Thanks, bro. Later, man. Have a great day. Yeah.